One is the communication and collaboration. As Mr. Tathagat mentioned, the more we are feeling the success, all those things, we are making ourselves a barrier, and the communication and collaboration is just getting great about whomever we want to have an effective communication throughout. And second is, for any organization, high quality, efficiency, product competitiveness, these are the basic things. But now what's happening, they may be having some, from the process perspective, because I was also involved in the process. So they have some set of process, and somebody suddenly come and, okay, let's do Agile, okay, we just, make around and then do the Agile, and suddenly continuous review, suddenly DevOps, suddenly, Lean Startup. So what's happening is, we are not having the energy to observe that, and also connect with what is actually required for my organization. It's not that just DevOps, it's everything. We just pull everything and then put it into that and give it to them. So that kind of activity, the short-term goals, we just look into it. That is also, impacting the people's productivity. Thereby the innovation is also getting impacted. And then that way the process becomes bulky. You don't apply lean. You don't see what are the waste going on. So these are a couple of, small issues that is creeping in the organization. And that is blocking the organization to go forward as well as innovate.
So I just want to put a perspective here and share my experience of the last 4 years associated with services company. And I just so just to answer the Tathagat's view that why services companies are not able to innovate. If I relate, see 80,000 or 90,000 people company producing 2.5 or 3 billion of revenue. But if we really see that this 80,000 people or 90,000 people have not been broken into scrums. If we really are able to break those large teams into scrums, certainly we will manage. And that is from there the Agile starts. So we go and implement Agile projects, we go and in our software delivery, we try to implement Agile, but at a high level, if we start, so what the point I'm trying to make here is why it's not happening is that we have actually not understood. It's not about that, I want to say that we all don't understand, but it's like acceptance. So we have not really implemented Agile in a common sense way where we can really make meaningful teams in that 80,000, 90,000 people. And if we can really do that, where again there are, you have a sprint kind of a targets, where you are given those small targets to achieve, and certainly as Tathagat was mentioning that we will have more liberty to fail, and when we are ready to fail, we will certainly innovate. So I think that is where Agile starts, and that is where the services companies, though they are trying to do that, they are trying to break that. Like in Mahindra, we are actually doing that. We are finding Scrum Masters, and we are getting into a program of young CEOs, right? So we are finding small teams, and we are assigning Scrum Master, though we are referring as young CEOs, right? So I basically say that they have found Scrum Master, right? And this is how we are going to innovate, and that is what has changed.
I just want to ask one question, maybe I'll take your role. How many of you implement Agile by the principles of Agile? By the principles. How many principles? That is what important. By the principles. Let's look at the principles. Yes, Scrum, many things are there. Even I don't know, there are so many methodologies or practices are coming out. But then once you look into the principles, then you will be able to relate, and then you can really get the value of that.
Thanks, Ash, for
floor to the audience. In fact, it's time for you to ask questions. You can ask questions related to current discussions. You just raise your hand. Can we have mic to the lady in front, please? First, that's the first hand I saw. We'll come. We'll get to you. Yes.
From Agile for Manish Kent has said that it is the way, like Agile is to heal the divide between business and development. But here in this sheet itself, this is India Agile Week, and I'm seeing this managerial track and technical track. So I want my panel to discuss on this, why they have divided this managerial and technical panel. It's like, it's
actually a very simple answer. You're confusing management with business. Management is different, business is different. So there's no contradiction here. People, their problems, their viewpoints and so on. And business is actually about making money and making something forward. So they're different things. So we're all right.
Like business and management is more like on the management track. We come along with like product owner this way. It's totally related to business as well as it is a connecting link between the business and the management. Why we have divided in this way? This is India Agile Week. I don't feel it's very logical. I think we will discuss more.
Okay.
Yes, I think.
Okay, just a light-hearted take on that. I think to me the idea is that if you think yourself you are a manager, you should go to the techie track and get cross-trained. So that we all know about each other's discipline a little better. But I think look at it this way, like in Scrum we talk about this whole notion of generalizing specialists, right? And then is anyone familiar with this whole notion of T-shaped careers? And the T-shaped professionals is a very powerful concept which actually Scrum furthers that. So if in the first sprint you are doing something, you probably will start as you are the database architect, you are the test engineer, you are the front-end developer, you are the back-end engineer. Second sprint, third sprint, you start cross-training each other. You actually go to the point, 6 sprints down the line, I would want to see that people have actually acquired the T-shaped kind of a thing there. So look at it this way. I would look up that the people who actually self-classify themselves as techie or a managerial person should at some point in time through these agile tracks should be able to see, okay, I can really sit in a Selenium class or I can sit in TDD session and I can feel actually comfortable. I don't really have to have in a managerial kind of a session there. So just a little bit of a light-hearted take. I'm sure Nitesh has reasons to do that. He has been doing a wonderful job of organizing them, but that's my point of view here.
Yes, in fact, what I always do is always take the feedback from the audience. So we'll come to you and maybe we can have you in the organizing committee for the next year and just have a different kind of track. But the point well taken. Yes, can we?
My question to the panelists is, can you share your experience of dealing with an HR executive, trying to explain to them the benefits of collaborative behavior and incentivizing collaborative behavior. I would really like to go and talk to my HRF about going agile, and I would like to carry the best practices from the group. Thank you.
For my company, Innovation Labs, so I have a dual charter for doing the strategic process innovation plus the HR. The reason why I'm able to do that is because other than computer science, I also went to XLRI and studied HR, which is why I'm able to talk that language. I'll be happy to do that for your HR folks if that helps. But I personally think that in the role of agile transformation leader, when I was at Yahoo, and I know Deva is here as well. Whenever I would go to Sunnyvale, I would actually spend time to explain Agile to our CFO as well. So go there and talk to the finance people and make them understand what is happening, what is this Agile thing happening there. When we did the transformation 2 years back at Yahoo Bangalore, we had a cross-functional team with the HR, with the L&D, where we explained them what is changing, why it is changing, and so on. So I think we all have, as Agile coaches and Scrum coaches, we have to take time out and explain what we are trying to do, build that transparency first, Nothing will happen, the viewpoints will not change in one shot, but do it over a period of time and do that. Send them to conference like this is, I think, definitely adds a lot.
Okay, the other thing is, what you can do is, try to also do this a bit informally. Try to catch them on a coffee or a lunch and try to understand, ask them questions on, because these people do study something called organizational development theory. So just ask them what different types of organizations can be, how can we organize people differently, and engage them in the conversation. And then put forward your views and explain how the world is changing, and take it from there. It takes a while. It's not just studying your viewpoint, but also get from it. Because what I'm again seeing in the industry, and particularly in the service companies, is that every service company looks like the other one. They have a few different colors in their PPT templates, but otherwise everyone looks the same. So maybe you can organize things a bit differently. So just ask them from that viewpoint.
I will share some of the practical activities that we have taken. So it's categorized into carrot and sticks. From the sticks perspective, how do you start with the collaboration? Of course, we have also introduced as part of our competency and qualification some of the members that, apart from your performance, apart from your, competencies, you should also have some kind of initiatives taken individually or part of the organization that you can collaborate with other teams, like example, dev with ops or ops with dev kind of thing. Second is knowledge management. We have also set up several community of practices that people from various disciplines, share together, work together, as well as have several, informal programs like you mentioned, several debates, healthier debates. So these kind of engagements, several engagements also we have initiated, and then it's going on. So these are a couple of things. Maybe other things I can share more information.
Thanks, sir. Do we have another question?
So on one side, the companies, bigger companies are focusing more towards the process related things like CM level 5, level 6, and another side, the companies are also getting inclined towards Agile. So the question here is, how far the companies are getting balanced, one side as a process oriented, going through levels of ISOs and CM level 5, and other sides we have this Agile coming.
I don't agree that CMMI is process. It is also for the organization. So I think that thinking of CMMI is process guys or QA guys, they have to do something like that. We have successfully implemented CMMI and Agile, not from the V1.3 kind of thing. How we can have CMMI by the principles, how we can have Agile by the principles. We have connected these two principles together, and it's a matter of how we do assessments. That is where we are differentiating. Okay, this is how it should be assessed, this is how documents. These are more of a very assessment related. But from the implementation perspective, there are connectivities, and we have successfully connected the principles and the benefits of both CMMI and Agile. So we call it just one. So we don't find anything.
How do you adjust when auditing is performed by the government?
Yeah, that's what. The second question is from the auditing or assessment perspective, that might follow variation. That is a different thing. Maybe offline I can discuss about that. Maybe auditors look in a different way, implementers look, QA guys look in a different way. How do we converge into one single? That is a different thing. But from principles perspective, it has been connected, and there is no difference we could see in our way of working in our processes.
I just want to share my own personal experience. Back in '97, I was at Philips, and we were going for level 3 that time. We started with level 2, and we were going for a level 3 assessment. It was still CMM those days. We were working on ISO 9000 TIP also. I was a project manager working on something which was a very risky embedded software project. We were following waterfall, but in the spirit of level 3 KPIs that allow you to tailor your organization process, the first time I created incremental process for myself, I wrote it for my own team, and we did that. Nothing in CMM or waterfall or PMBOK style of thinking stopped me from innovating on process and building an incremental software kind of a pipeline, so to say. So I think it's all in the mind. I personally believe, in fact, if you ask me apple to apple, I am more better off doing a waterfall, because in waterfall there are no rules that say that you have to do on a given day this activity or that activity. I mean, you don't have to be looking at it in a very fanatic way and say, no, thou shalt do that kind of a thing. So it's really in the mind how you look at it. I looked at it as an opportunity to innovate, but because it was not there. I would say that you probably want to look at it the same way.
Issue, I'm from Siemens. So after listening of all these things, one basic question I have in my mind is like, first point, I think somebody raised like 80% of the projects in India is not successful because of the Agile. So that I don't know, but at least in my experience, I'm a Scrum Master myself. So in my organization, we have, mostly we work with the partners. So partners will have some way of executing the things, and we have our way of executing things. But some point of time we will collaborate and then do it. But on top of that, our organization in India, in Bangalore, has its own process. So I have got too many managers sitting on my head. Okay, and now what happens is Agile has a guideline. What it says a Scrum team will not have any project manager or any Scrum Master and set of Scrum team members, including PO and team members and architects and testers. So now what happens is the moment, I'm comfortable with the Scrum team, but I'm not comfortable with the too many things which I need to communicate. See, that they don't have a communication between themselves. That's really painful. So I feel that is a failure. So can you please answer that? Yeah, failure of as a Scrum team, I know what I'm doing and I know what my team is doing. But the thing is there are too many managers sitting on the above, and they themselves doesn't have the communication between those people, and suddenly it's a Scrum Master who are the above was trust.
I think
your organization is large and your project is large, and it's the way you try to scale it hasn't been quite good enough. And fundamentally, it is not really scaling. It doesn't matter what framework you use for scaling, but if managers, etc., and your higher management is not educated, sufficiently educated, they're not going to do this correctly. So you're going to continue with this pain unless they get educated. And one of the things I again observe in many companies is they send Scrum Masters for training, but many of the managers and senior managers, they don't do any training or don't get educated. And they use this word called Agile to just bundle everything in this, this new buzzword. So that's it. So unfortunately, it's a long time for you. The only thing that may help you is if you've got a project that is really highly visible and you have to deliver results, then the way to look at it is Scrum is showing you that you're not able to deliver, so there are impediments. And those impediments could be the behavior of some of your peers, partners, managers, yourself, maybe your team, whatever it is. And they need to be fixed. So you really need someone at the top to place an overall Scrum Master. I don't know who that is. Okay. Probably unsatisfactory answer, but yeah, I don't have any magic words.
Just to add here is that even if I share my experience, so just to add to your basically thought, as I said in the beginning that, and as Srinivas was pointing it out, that we, from top to bottom, we really need to understand what we want to achieve or what Agile is. So I have myself seen that. I will give you a very simple example. We were in a class and we were trying to do estimation of user stories. And there's a team and then product owner comes and he says that, okay, let's go and do an estimation. But what actually happens is people are a little reluctant. People don't understand the little explanation about behind user stories. So how are you going to do that? So all in all, what I want to say is that still, though we are ready to accept Agile, adopt Agile, but we really need to understand in between that we all need to be educated, we all need to understand the significance, and collaboration has to be done in a much bigger scale. That is where distributed teams doesn't collaborate. That is where product owner teams, and as you are saying, there are partners. Certainly, suppose if your model is with partners, right? How they are going to collaborate, right? So then you require a different kind of approach here in terms of collaboration. So I think that is where things fail, and we just get confused. And
yes, so just going back to the theme of this event.
My take is, I think we have limited our understanding to Agile as the software engineering process, but we have failed to understand that there is a sociological element of that. It's like the iceberg, the 90% that is invisible, that is the sociological aspect. Unfortunately, we software engineers have no clue what is team dynamics, how human motivation works, what is the sociology in a team setting there. So we fail to understand. For example, the reward system or performance appraisal system still is an annual system that does a stack ranking. How are you going to promote team collaboration in that setting? So there are multiple things. So in short, lack of a holistic understanding of Agile as not just a